All right, first video we're gonna hop into is another tough video. The most terrifying medical cases ever documented. Lock in.
Today, we're diving into some of the most terrifying medical cases ever documented. Stories so
I
bizarre
never peeped he had Gengar in the bag. That's fire. I never peeped he had
that if they
Gengar
weren't
back
backed
there.
up by medical records, you'd probably assume they were fake. We're talking about a man who unknowingly carried his own twin brother in his stomach for 36 years, a woman who woke
Huh? You can just carry your other... So, like, if you're a fucking twin and... Because I know, like, sometimes twins can fucking eat each other. Like, in the womb, but it's like... They didn't catch that and you carried that for 35 years? With him in your fucking stomach?
up in the middle of surgery, fully conscious, feeling every cut while being completely unable to move, and an ordinary trip to a swimming pool that ended with a brain-eating parasite claiming an 11-year-old boy's life just a couple days later. These are the kinds of cases that leave even experienced doctors speechless, and somehow, every single one of them actually happened. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is Tuv, and yes, I'm wearing scrubs for this video. They sent me the wrong, or I think I ordered the wrong size. But like, I know you don't see my neck area, but that is a...
God damn, that's a long ass V-neck. Somebody gripped his shit up and fucking... Alright, there you go. That should work. 2XL on this fucking skinny
It
ass.
looks like I have like weird chest hair. That's not chest hair. That is a chest tattoo. Ew. Don't imagine that as chest hair. That is disgusting. But I do want to let you guys know that for this video, there really aren't that many pictures. Like, a lot of these are medical records. So editor, I hope you got us with this, because I think it's kind of like our first story that has the actual guy, like pictures of the guy. But other than that, you know, there's gonna be a lot of stock footage, but these are 100% real, authentic stories. With that being said, if you are not subscribed,
Yeah, because some shit happened back in like the fucking 1980s. They weren't fucking taking pictures of that shit back then. It was just like, oh, well, you're a freak at that point. And they put you in a freak show.
to the channel, do not subscribe. I will earn your subscription by the end of this video, and let's get right into the topic. Man with a twin living inside him. What if I told you a man walked around for 36 years carrying his own twin brother inside his stomach?
36 years? And you just got gang hanging out with you in your stomach and you don't peep that? Like, I feel a little heavier today.
And he didn't even know it. Sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, right? But this actually did happen, and the man in question being Sanju Bhagat, a farmer from Nagpur, India, born back in 1963. Now, to understand how wild this gets, we gotta start with the belly. See, Bhagat had this huge, bulging stomach his entire life. It made him stand out in his little community, and honestly, according to him, he felt self-conscious about it for as long as he could remember. As probably expected, given some people are dicks, especially kids, there were individuals around the village who teased him constantly, mainly telling him he looked pregnant.
Instead of them going on big back, they was going on big belly. Hey, big belly. Big belly, what you doing? Nah, imagine like you don't even realize why you're so big and people are making fun of you, and little do they know, and little do you know, there's a whole nother person inside your fucking stomach. Like, I'm basically, I am pregnant, basically.
Little did anyone know they were kind of right. Not pregnancy-wise, but there was someone in the stomach. That's a weird sentence. Thing is, though, when he was a young boy, he didn't show any real
Look at that
signs of a
big-ass
medical problem
stomach.
aside from that prominent stomach.
Looks like
But
a
then,
big-
when he hit his 20s,
big
the
bald
growth of his
head.
belly started getting bigger and, you know, over the years, he just ignored it. However, it eventually got so big that it became a serious problem. By the late 90s, it was pressing
I
on
mean, yeah, at what point do you realize that, like, he's not fat anywhere else? It's just to, like, at what point do you realize that, like, your arms are fucking skin and bones, your fucking chest is skinny, but your jaw, you have a gigantic fucking stomach. No fat in his face, no fat in his neck. Like, you didn't think that was a problem from the start?
so hard he
Doctors
could
didn't
barely
catch that
breathe.
shit?
He was struggling to even work his farm, which in turn made feeding his family a hard thing to do. Also, it was really weird that his body barely had enough food to stay nourished, so him, quote, putting on weight made no sense at all. That alone should have been a red flag. Then, one night in June of 1999, his problem stopped being just a cosmetic and became something way bigger. An ambulance rushed a 36-year-old to a hospital in Mumbai. Doctors took one look and figured it was a giant tumor, especially since it was big enough to press on his diaphragm, which is exactly why he was so breathless. So they decided to operate and remove whatever was causing the bulge. The surgeon, Dr. Ajay Mehta of Tata Memorial Hospital, said they anticipated a lot of problems just because of the sheer size of the thing. Now here's where the story goes completely off the rails. Mehta said that normally he can spot a tumor pretty much the moment he starts operating, but as he cut deeper into Bhagat's stomach, gallons of fluid spilled out, and then something he'd never seen in his career happened. In his own words, "To my surprise and horror, I could shake hands with somebody inside."
Ooh. That's this, bro. Imagine you're a doctor and you're going in to, like, surgically remove a tumor. And you cut it open, all you see is a hand just flop out. I'd be horrified. I would think that this motherfucker eats people, cuts them open, and eats them, and he ate too many people.
And little by little, they started pulling out limbs, hair, jaws, even part of the genitalia. This strange
Oh! I found a dick! Whoa! I found a nutsack! And it's that's combined with a dick! You was eating balls and dick, wasn't you?
formed body with
You was eating cock and balls, weren't you, buddy?
hands and feet were oddly developed, and
No,
fingernails were
I
quite
promise.
long. The whole team was
Only once.
understandably horrified, confused, and amazed all at once. So what exactly did they pull out of him? Well, it was the mutated body of Bhagat's own twin brother. He had one of the rarest conditions in all of medicine, something called fetus in fetu, which happens when one twin gets trapped inside the other very early in pregnancy and survives like a parasite, leeching off the host's blood supply. There are fewer than 90 cases ever recorded in media literature, and it's estimated to happen in just 1 in 500,000 live births.
It's like, not only do I have to fucking provide for my wife, my kid, I gotta provide for a motherfucker I don't even know that's there. I didn't even know that I was feeding you, giving you my blood. You just taking that shit from me? You parasite.
Usually both twins die before birth from the strain.
Ew, what is that little nutsack up there, though? Look at that little nutsack up there. Look at the little nutsack. You got a little black and white nutsack.
Bhagat not only survived, but also nobody suspected a thing for a whole 36 years. Boy with
36 years is wild that they just let him walk around like that. Nobody even thought anything of it.
brain-eating parasite. Now imagine taking your kid to a local swimming pool, a totally normal summer thing to do, and a couple weeks later, your kid is dead. All because of a microscopic organism that crawled up his nose and started eating his brain. That's the nightmare that played in.
That's why I don't go in community pools. You never know what a motherfucker's dragging through them pools, bro. You never know what somebody got, or how, if they're cleaning it correctly, if they're keeping maintenance right, if something like an animal could have died in the filter of the pool and then they're just letting that shit run.
Slovakia in June of 2025, and the worst part is how ordinary the whole day seemed. The boy was 11 years old, and at the beginning of the month, he'd visited a swimming pool in Starovo, in the southern part of the country. Nothing about that is alarming on its own,
Starovo.
but then on Saturday, June 14th, he was rushed to the National Institute of Children's Diseases in Bratislava with damage to his central nervous
Bratislava? Where the fuck are we? Where are we at? Where the fuck are we at? Russia? Bulgaria?
system. And despite everything the doctors threw at it, by June 17th, he had died. So what had actually killed him? Well, the parasite I just mentioned.
Damn, it's-
Doctors diagnosed him
holy
with something
shit,
called
bro.
naegleriosis, which has a
Holy shit. The light really lets you fucking see all the smoke when it comes up. God damn.
brain-eating parasite. The cause of death was classified as a primary amoebic. There's the word on the screen. I have tried pronouncing that one. I can't get that.
Oh. Don't worry, you got a Harvard scholar here. I got you tough. Meningitis nephrectolitis. There you go. That's how you say it. I got you tough.
Again, caused by a parasite called Naegleria fowleri. Authorities couldn't even immediately say where the kid picked it up, but the pool in Starovo got shut down as a precaution while hygienists took samples to test. One official explained that it's a slow, painstaking process because they're hunting for a rare microorganism that can sit in water in really tiny amounts. Now, I think a little context here is necessary to understand what they were dealing with. The parasite, Naegleria fowleri, lives in warm freshwater and soil, stuff like lakes, rivers, hot springs, and occasionally poorly maintained pools. You can't get it
I knew it, bro. I knew it was gonna be like keeping up with the pool or some shit. They probably clean that bitch like once a fucking year, bro.
from drinking contaminated water, which sounds reassuring, until you learn how you can actually get it, which is that water has to
We doing DIY C-sections on ourselves now? That's what we doing? We doing DIY just in the crib. That's crazy.
Picture being in labor for 12 hours straight, in the middle of nowhere, with the nearest hospital 8 hours away. There's not even another adult in the room, and the baby just won't come out the natural way. So what do? Well, one woman in Mexico made a decision so extreme, it sounds impossible, and yet she and her baby both lived to tell about it. Her name is Ines Ramirez.
That's a miracle. That's fucking insane. That's good for her though, but fuck. That's fucking risky.
Perez. And back in the year 2000, at 40 years old, she performed a K-string section on herself using a kitchen knife, aka a C-section. So let's set the scene. Ines lived in a one-room cabin tucked away in the mountains of southern Mexico. The place had no electricity, and maybe worse, no running water, which also means no proper sanitation, at least in the way that we're used to. She was about as far from medical help as you could possibly be. And to make things even stranger, she apparently had already been through this kind of nightmare before. A couple years earlier, she had lost a baby due to obstructed labor, which is basically when the baby can't pass through the birth canal no matter how hard or long you push. So you can imagine the dread she must have felt when, hours into this labor, she realized the same thing was happening again. That night, she figured if her baby was gonna die, then she was gonna die too, and also, and I quote, "But if he was going to grow up, I was going to be there to see it." She also
Holy shit, I couldn't stand the pain anymore, she said. And if my baby was going to die, then I decided I would have to die too. But if he was going to grow up, I was going to see him grow up, and I was going to be with my child. I thought God would save both our lives. Holy fuck, that's crazy, bro. That's fucking terrifying, bro. Like, that's so sad that she had to do this shit by herself, bro. Like, you're just sitting there not knowing what else to do, and you're just sitting there like, I don't want to die, but if my baby does, I want to die, but I'm not gonna let him die, but I also don't want to die as well. Like, that's just a rough position to be in, and it sucks she had nobody else there to help her.
apparently told herself, I quote again, God would save both lives. So she took matters into her own hands. Literally. She knocked back 3 small glasses of hard liquor, grabbed the kitchen knife, and went for it. And by the way, she actually had previous experience slaughtering animals, which probably gave her some idea of what she was doing. It took her 3 attempts to slice through her own abdomen, cutting through skin, fat, and muscle, before reaching the uterus, which she cut longitudinally. And get this, she did the whole thing in a squatting position, which experts think is probably
Holy shit, bro. She's a fucking demon. Bro, she's fucking tough, bro. She squat down. She said, She said, all right, bet. Damn, bro. Nah, she's goated for that. Dad, you better know how much that fucking mother loves her child, because what the fuck?
what kept her from damaging her internal organs. After about an hour of this, she reached into the bloody wound and pulled out her baby boy, who, incredibly, took that first breath and cried immediately. Somehow, against all odds, both of them were alive, but she wasn't out of the woods yet. Before passing out, she had the presence of mind to tell one of her children to go call the local nurse. When the nurse showed up, they tucked her bowel loops back inside her body and stitched the wound shut using an ordinary sewing needle and cotton thread. After that, she was taken on that long 8-hour journey to the nearest hospital.
Holy shit, bro. 8 hours she's in the car. Bro, she's in the car for 8 fucking hours with her shit just stitched up casually. Not even professionally, just casually. Oh my God, bro, this story's fucking crazy.
where the surgical team checked her for sepsis and organ damage, patched her up properly, and put her on triple antibiotic therapy. Just 10 days after carving into herself, she recovered and was discharged. Oh, and as far as I know, this is the only such procedure a woman did on herself and survived. His defibrillator
Holy
accidentally shocked him,
shit.
saving his life. Here's a weird but less crazy one for you. Normally, a defibrillator is designed to shock your heart when it's going haywire. That's the whole point of the device. But every now and then, life throws a situation so strange that a machine ends up saving you in a way it was never actually built for. And that's exactly what happened to one 83-year-old man who got the shock of his life, literally, and in the most unexpected place, his own shower. So here's how it went down.
Why the fuck do you have a defibrillator near the shower, Gango?
The man who already had a cardioverter defibrillator implanted
Oh, shit. He had it inside his body. Mi stupa.
in him was taking a shower like he did any other day. At some point, he reached out to steady himself and grabbed onto a metal water pipe for support. Problem was, that pipe was accidentally connected to a live 240 volt feed. So the second he grabbed it, electricity started coursing through his body, and his muscles seized up so badly that his grip actually tightened around the pipe instead of letting go. Which, if you know anything about electrocution, is a nightmare scenario because you basically get locked into this thing that's killing you. But then,
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that where like they talk about like with live wires, like if you grab a live wire, you can't drop it. Like when you get shocked like that, your muscles all clench to where it is, so you're just shocking the shit out of yourself. Can't even fucking drop that bitch. You're just stuck there like, oh fuck, I'm ready to die like this.
his device stepped
Like, yeah, bro. Just trying to grab the live wire.
in. The defibrillator picked up on all these high-frequency vibrations from his muscles twitching and discharge, not once, but twice. And those jolts were strong enough to physically throw him out of the shower, breaking him free from the electrified pipe. So the very device sitting in his chest essentially yanked him off the source of his
Shit,
own
that's
electrocution.
fucking
Now the really
crazy.
fascinating part is what the doctors found afterward. They went back and
That's just
interrogated
a Gango, you gotta let go, Brody. You gotta let go of that pole, Brody. He said, oh. They said, all right, bet. Boom. Blasted his stupid ass. Fell out the... Oh, all wet and shit, dick and balls everywhere, just rolling
the
around the
device to
shower.
see what had
Rolling
happened,
around the
and
shower
they
floor
discovered
like,
that his heart had actually been beating normally the whole time. The near
Laying there in
electrocution didn't
defeat.
throw his heart into ventricular fibrillation the way you'd expect, and it didn't mess up his heart's normal rhythm at all. The device fired only because it detected those weird high-frequency muscle vibrations, and once that final shock landed and the vibrations stopped, everything settled down. So basically, the defibrillator delivered what doctors described as an off-label life-saving shock. The man resumed his daily activities afterward, grateful to the little device
I'm not gonna lie, I would have had to take a nap. I'm not gonna lie, I would have had to take a nap after that one. I would have had to, you know what, today's the day where I'm gonna just chill out. I'm gonna watch some TV. I'm gonna just chill out.
that wasn't even designed for this and still managed to keep him alive. Penises ripped by Cobalt vacuum cleaner.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, I don't know if I want to watch this one. Oh. This is why they always tell you, don't fuck the vacuum cleaner. It'll end poorly for you. Don't do it. Don't stick your dick in a vacuum.
Okay, this one's a bit of a wild ride, so lock in. It starts with a vacuum cleaner in Germany that became so infamous for
Who's sticking their... Bro, who's sticking their dick in that?
one very
Who's sticking their dick in that? I'm not. The fuck? I'm not. That shit looks like that shit'll fucking...
very specific reason that it's basically a legend among German doctors and medical students to this day. We're talking about the Cobalt, made by a company called Vorwerk, and the reason it earned that dark little place in medical history is that it kept, well, eating men's penises. And the stories these guys would
Kept eating. So, like, not repeat offenders, but repeat offenses where this kept happening to different men after they seen this shit was happening to other men. Are we this down bad? Like, and this is why OnlyFans girls are so rich, because us as a fucking creatures, we're so fucking down bad as a fucking species. We're just like, oh my god, hole, looping up.
explain as to how it happened, well, they are nothing short of priceless. I mean, how do you explain your penis missing? You obviously don't
Hey, babe, I need your help. My peenie, my pee-pee gone.
tell them that, you wanted to get a simulation of head from a vacuum cleaner. So the stories that these guys would make.
I don't know what happened. I wanted to try it, and now my pee-pee's gone. My pee-pee's no longer on my body. I don't know where it is. Can you check the vacuum cleaner? It may be in there.
Up are honestly borderline comedic. Before we get to that, let's get to the why. The insidious thing about the kobold was that just after 11 centimeters, anything you inserted into the suction tube would make contact with a rotating propeller. You
Oh, wow. Just more of a reason why not to do it, and these motherfuckers are still like, oh, it's better in my
can
hand.
already see where this is going. The whole thing was documented in a 1978 medical thesis out of the Technical University of Munich.
Yo, look at that fucking word. Penis Verlet Zugen. Penis Verlazugen. B masturbation mit Stabsturgen.
Written by a urology resident who reviewed 16 separate cases of men injured by this exact same type of vacuum cleaner. And while the penis injuries aren't exactly a comedy goldmine on their own, the explanations they came up with, like I said, are what made this thesis a legend. Also, I never understood putting your dick in a vacuum cleaner. Like, it just seems painful. Like okay, obviously it's to simulate.
Like, I just don't. I don't. Like, when you're getting, you know what, it's not like they're like they're hitting a fucking bong. Like, what are we doing?
Head. I'm assuming that's why these guys do it, right? Like, I've heard jokes about it, I think on like Family Guy, for example. And ever since I heard that, I'm like, why though?
No,
Like,
I always remember that shit from fucking Scary Movie with Doofy. Doofy keeps fucking the vacuum cleaner, and they all make fun of him for it.
I don't even want to get I don't want to get TMI, but like, it's so dry. You gotta get some, you know what I mean? Like, it just sounds painful. I don't know. So one of the 60-year-old men claimed he'd injured himself while repairing a coffee grinder, though everything pointed straight to the vacuum cleaner. Another 70-year-old swore he'd fallen off the table into a garden chair, which doctors noted was very unlikely given the injury was textbook vacuum damage. And one insurance clerk insisted he'd been cleaning his car with an unfamiliar vacuum, accidentally hit the switch with his pants off, and then, in his words,
Oh my god. I don't know what happened, Doc. I was outside cleaning my car, and the next thing you know, my pants is around my ankles, and I'm bleeding, and then my penis is going. My pee-pee going. I don't know what happened. I think somebody did it on purpose. I think somebody did it and ran.
everything was
Because
drowned.
I for certain did not take my pants down, Doc.
Blood.
I promise.
But the two cases that really steal the show are case number 14 and 15. Case 14 was a 31-year-old welder, married, raised super strict with zero sexual education growing up. His wife had been away for 2 weeks and was coming back the next day. While cleaning the apartment, he got aroused flipping through some magazines, and his mind made this odd little leap connecting sucking to vacuum cleaner. So with the running kobold, and immediately there was a terrible bang and a lot of blood. Crazy, but then there's case 15, which is that same welder's 59-year-old father. When his son was discharged from the hospital, the dad straight up didn't believe the vacuum story. He was convinced his son had cheated on his wife and that the injury was actually a bite wound. So what does he do?
Wait. You're telling me this motherfucker went to the hospital because he put his dick in a vacuum? Cool, whatever. We learn it, we forget. So, is it, I don't know if it's his dad or her dad, whatever, says, bullshit, I'm gonna call you out on your lie. And you proceed to do the same fucking thing? You just go for it too? Like, shit, you couldn't do that. Let me try. Oh, fuck. Yeah, see, I told you. Now, look at you. Look at you. Now you look like me.
The very next day, he decides to test the theory out by putting his own dick into the vacuum.
You can't make this shit up, bro. This is why women live longer than men.
Cleaner.
Because we're too
And the
busy out here
vacuum tore
fucking
his
vacuum
penis off.
cleaners.
It actually did it in a fraction of a second. He felt a sharp pain, and his penis nearly disappeared. He went straight to the nearest hospital. Funny enough, there's a much later case from 2005 too, a 61-year-old who showed up with a partially severed penis and claimed they got caught in an old kobold while he was inflating an air mattress. He gave contradictory statements to his insurance company, so
Just gotta pump this up real quick. Oh, my dad! It's gone!
investigators were brought in, and after examining the vacuum, they actually couldn't rule out that it was really just a household accident. After all these findings, by the way, the vacuum cleaner's design eventually had to be changed, probably for the best. Hallucinating voices told her to get a...
Yo, that has to be some of the worst shit I've ever heard, bro. I hate being a man sometimes.
CT scan. They were right. This one is really one of the strangest medical cases you'll hear because it blurs the line between a mental health crisis and something almost supernatural. A perfectly healthy woman in Britain suddenly started hearing voices in her head, and those voices told her to go get a brain scan for a tumor. Now, any normal person would just assume that's a hallucination, right? Well, yeah, except those voices ended up being correct. The woman, known only as AB, was born in continental Europe in the mid-1940s and settled in Britain in the late 1960s. By all accounts, she was the picture of good health, a housewife and mother who rarely went to her doctor and never had any hospital treatment. Then, in the winter of 1984, while she was sitting at home reading, she heard a distinct voice inside her head that said, "Please don't be afraid. I know it must be shocking for you to hear me speaking to you like this, but it's the easiest way I could think of." And explained that it and a friend used to work at the Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital and
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would at least, you would have to check it out. But it's just like I would literally think that I was just going batshit fucking crazy. I'd be like, "Yup, this is it. This is it. This is where I die. I'm just going fucking crazy. They're gonna put me in the loony
wanted
bin."
to help her. To prove they were sincere, the voices gave her 3 specific pieces of information she didn't actually know at the time and told her to go check them. So she did, and every single one turned out to be true. But instead of comforting her, this terrified her even more, because she'd already convinced herself she'd gone mad. Panicked, she went to the doctor, who urgently referred her to a psychiatrist. That psychiatrist diagnosed her with functional hallucinatory psychosis, which basically means a break from reality with no obvious physical cause. He offered her counseling and an antipsychotic, and within a couple of weeks,
Bro, that's crazy. They can't even fucking explain how you heard why you're hearing voices, but the voices were right. So yeah, you're crazy, but you're crazy in a good way. Like, what the fuck does that? What does that mean?
voices disappeared. So, relieved that she had her sanity back, she went off on holiday to celebrate. But while she was abroad and still on her medication, the voices came back. And this time they were more urgent, telling her to return to England immediately because something was wrong with her. When she got back, the voices gave her a specific address to go to, which turned out to be a large CT scan department of a large London hospital. Once she arrived, they told her to go in and ask for a brain scan for 2 reasons. She had a tumor and her brainstem was inflamed. Her psychiatrist, trying to reassure her it was on her head, requested the scan anyway. And get this, the request was initially declined, with the hospital saying there was no clinical justification for such an expensive test, and basically implying the psychiatrist had gone overboard believing his patient's voices. But after some back and forth, they finally did it, and the scan revealed a mass that had all the appearances of a meningioma, a tumor about 2.5 by 1.5 inches sitting in her brain.
Holy shit, that's fucking crazy. And they almost didn't even fucking do it because they didn't fucking believe her, and it's so... I mean, it is expensive to run them fucking machines, but... Holy shit, that shit almost went undetected. She would have got home and the voices would have been like, "You stupid motherfucker, what the fuck did I tell you? Go get that shit fucking scanned now! Go back there and tell them you want a CT scan now."
She had surgery in May of 1984,
chill.
and the tumor was
I'll go.
removed completely. And the kicker? When she woke up from the operation, the voices spoke to her one last time, saying, "We are pleased to have helped you, goodbye." And then they vanished for good. She called her doctor 12 years later to say she'd been perfectly well ever since. Now, before you dismiss this as just another ghostly Reddit or internet story, bear in mind it was published in multiple academic journals. It's an actual story. Honestly, guys, like, I'm literally looking at the sources right now, it seems real. There's a specific article written by Mindy Weisberger, which seems to have proper credibility. And like I was saying, there's actually medical records of this. I personally find this one like so hard to believe. Like you guys watch my channel, you guys have known that I don't believe in ghosts. I really kind of don't. You guys get mad every time I say it, bruh. I know y'all be on that spirit stuff. Okay, good, awesome. But like,
I'm like 50-50 on ghosts. Like I believe, but it's also like I've had enough experience to where I believe, but it's also like I don't know. It's just weird. Like it's kind of like weird to think about. But I definitely think that there's at least something out there.
I don't know, bro. I'm not saying like this was a ghost. Like okay. If you wonder why I don't say my opinion anymore, it's because every time I say my opinion, 500 comments saying no, it's the opposite. So either way, everything in this video, literally, I double checked, made sure there's actual medical recordings about it. Yeah, this one has a lot of discussion about it though. People are like, "Yep, that one's fake," or people saying like, "Wow, there's actual voices that tell you to do good things and not bad ones." Because if you think about it, a lot of people do have voices in their head that tell them to do some bad stuff. So how is it never in medical history that a voice has told you to do a good thing? I don't know, but that's just me going on a tangent now. You know, that's just tough opinion time. Yeah, let's head on to the next one. Injected herself with a whole black widow spider to get high. Alright, so people have done some pretty questionable things just to get high, and this one takes the cake. Back in the 1990s,
What in the fiend shit? We're smoking fucking Black Widow web
a woman
to get
decided
high?
that she was gonna get high off a spider, a black widow spider to be specific. And no, I don't mean just the venom. She crushed it up and injected it into her veins. Yes, the whole
Nah, that's beyond crackhead shit, bro. Like there's crackhead activities, and then there's fucking loony bin people that just should not be given any material to do anything ever, bro. You need to be put in a fucking padded room with your arms tied to your back so that way you can't fucking hurt yourself. Because what the fuck are we doing that we're crushing up Black Widow spider, whatever, and then bow into the fucking veins? Like, what the fuck kind of... It's what they probably be doing in Philly, bro. If there was
spider,
Black Widows
and
in Philly, you would see that shit in Philadelphia.
as you can probably guess, the trip ended up at the ICU. So let's break down how this even happened. The case was written up in a 1996 letter in the Annals of Emergency Medicine, and it revolves around a 37-year-old woman who, importantly, had a history of IV heroin use. So the needle part wasn't new to her.
Nice.
What was new was the ingredient. She took a whole Black Widow spider, crushed it up, mixed it with about 10 millimeters of distilled water, and injected the whole concoction into herself. She later told doctors flat out that she did it to get high, and made clear she wasn't trying to hurt herself or anything like that. The problem is, Black Widow venom doesn't care about your recreational plans. About an hour later, she showed up at the emergency department, and she was in rough shape. She was hit with severe generalized muscle cramping, the worst of it in her abdomen, thighs, and back, plus a pounding headache and a wave of anxiety. And when they checked her vitals, her heart was racing at 188 beats per minute, and her blood pressure was up at 188 over 108.
Holy shit, bro. She's lucky that shit didn't fucking kill her right then and there, bro. Holy shit, bro. And all this to get high, bro. That's... Some people go to extreme lengths for shit, bro. That's sad.
When a healthy reading is around 120 over 80. To put the venom itself in perspective, Black Widow venom is about 15 times more powerful than a rattlesnake's, so injecting a whole spider's worth is no small thing.
Holy
so doctors started
shit.
trying to manage it. They first gave her calcium gluconate, which barely did anything, then moved to IV morphine, which finally got her pain under control. But then a new problem cropped up. A few hours in, she started struggling to breathe, and listening to her lungs revealed widespread wheezing. So on top of everything, doctors had discovered a pre-existing condition, asthma. The doctors thought the venom, or maybe some protein in the spider, may have set off her asthma. They ran her through 3 treatments, and when they still couldn't breathe right, they gave her steroids and admitted her to the ICU. Still interesting is the way they administered her treatment. Normally, for a Black Widow situation, you might reach for anti-venom, but the doctors deliberately avoided it. Why? Well, because the antivenom carries a risk of triggering anaphylaxis, and given that her breathing was already compromised, they worried it could make everything dramatically worse. So
Holy shit, they can't even give her this shit that would instantly work because it could fuck up her breathing and make her fucking die anyway. So you're just stuck like, what the fuck do I do?
They basically had to write it out with other treatments. They figured the breathing trouble came from
Holy
bronchial
shit.
smooth muscle contraction, which the venom can cause, possibly
You just gotta slowly try to figure out what works, what doesn't. Like, that's insane. You gotta fucking know basically everything at that point. Like, what'll work for each fucking symptom she's having
back
instead
on
of
top of
something
an
that'll
allergic
work for the
reaction
whole
to
thing.
one of the proteins in the spider. Thankfully, the story had a happy ending. By day 2, she was free of pain, her lungs had cleared up, and her breathing was back to normal. She was moved to a regular ward, sent home with oral steroids and an asthma routine, and referred for a psychiatric evaluation. When she came back up for a checkup a month later, everything looked completely normal, so she walked away fine, but the lesson here is pretty clear. Spiders are not a recreational substance. Strange
Really?
post-sex abdominal air. You might not know this, but if you've got a large amount of free air floating around in your abdomen, it's usually a giant red flag that something has gone seriously wrong inside you, like a hole somewhere in your gut. Doctors call it a pneumoperitoneum, and in the vast majority of cases, it means a perforated, aka torn organ, and an emergency trip to the operating room. But every once in a while, that air shows up for a reason nobody would ever guess. And in this particular case, the culprit turned out to be sex. And how doctors landed on that conclusion in this case is equally interesting. I mean, the whole thing starts with a completely different medical problem. A 21-year-old woman showed up at the hospital with sudden sharp pain on the right side of her abdomen. She was dehydrated, running a fever, and her belly was distended and tender, with signs of peritonitis on the right side, plus a high white cell count that suggested her body was fighting something. So doctors took her into surgery to explore what was going on. And what they found was a badly diseased right kidney, basically a pus-filled, grossly enlarged organ with no healthy tissue left in it, which they ended up removing entirely. She recovered without any issues and went home.
What the fuck was she doing? Well, I guess we're about to find out, but what the fuck? Oh, was he fucking that shit too? Oh, he was hitting that
5
shit
days
too
later.
right.
But about 8 weeks after that surgery, she came back in for a routine
Oh,
CT scan just to check
shit.
how her remaining left kidney was doing. And to the doctor's complete surprise, the scan showed a big pocket of free air in her abdomen, mostly on the right side. And remember, that's the kind of finding that normally screams emergency. Except she felt totally fine. Her abdomen was soft, flat, and not tender at all. She had a normal white cell count, and there were zero signs of anything dangerous happening inside her. So the doctors had a real puzzle on their hands. Why would there be all this air in her belly when she had absolutely no symptoms? She hadn't had any kind of invasive procedures since her surgery weeks earlier. It just didn't add up. But then, after some more detailed questioning, the answer finally came out. She admitted she'd been sexually active roughly 4 hours before the CT scan, specifically 15 minutes of oral sex followed by regular vaginal intercourse. And that, weirdly enough, was the missing piece. So how does that even work? Well, it turns out certain sexual activities, along with things like pelvic exams, douching, and even some postpartum exercises, can push air up through the vagina, cervix, uterus, and fallopian tubes, and from there it travels into the abdominal cavity. It's actually a known, even if pretty uncommon, phenomenon. And by uncommon, I mean almost zero chance it happens to you. In fact, up to May of 2013, there were only 19 reported cases of this kind of non-surgical air buildup from gynecologic causes. So this woman's case was a genuine rarity.
That's crazy. They were having fucking. So they were fucking too much, and that shit was putting air into her abdominal system, and it was fucking killing her fucking kidneys. Damn. He was hitting that shit too right.
A rare, weird result of speed eating competition. Competitive
Oh,
eating looks
no.
like harmless fun, right? Big
We about to watch some motherfuckers gullet down some glizzies.
yes, but remember, your stomach has limits. And when you push way past them really fast, some genuinely scary stuff can happen to you. And that's exactly what one 30-year-old man in Singapore found out the hard way after a single speed eating contest landed him in the ER. So 8 hours before he showed up at the hospital, this otherwise healthy man had downed a burger weighing 7 pounds in just 30 minutes. Pretty soon after, he vomited up a bunch of undigested food, though notably there was no blood or bile in it. But the relief didn't come. By the time he got to the emergency room, his stomach was bloated, his gut was in pain, and his abdomen was visibly swollen and distended. So the doctor started running tests to figure out what was going on. First, they did an x-ray, which thankfully didn't show any air pockets that would have hinted at a perforated bowel, but his blood work was a mess. His white blood cell count was way up, and his levels of creatine and amylase were both elevated too, which are all signs of stress on the kidneys and pancreas. On top of that, he was in metabolic acidosis, basically a sign his body chemistry was getting thrown off balance. So they ordered a CT scan, and that's when the full picture came into view. His stomach and the upper part of his small intestine were, in the doctor's words, grossly distended with food material. But the crazy part
What? Like, what the fuck are you eating, gang? Like, what? This is what happens when you eat American food, bro. It's like, nah. They're probably about. He's probably about to say why, but that's like, what the fuck could you be eating that it's fucking your body up that much and grossly grossly distended with food material? Like, what the fuck does that even mean, bro? Like, that just sounds like you're just eating fucking like Resident Evil food.
Part is that the giant massive burger had gotten so big it physically shoved his intestines over to the left
A massive fucking burger? How big was the burger?
side of his abdomen and flattened his pancreas. So basically, the sheer bulk of undigested food was squishing his organs from the inside. The official diagnosis was a gastric outlet obstruction, where the food chunks were so large and packed in so tight that nothing could pass from the stomach into the next part of the gut, and the pressure was so intense it actually caused acute pancreatitis and a kidney injury. So how did they treat him? First, they admitted him and tried to relieve the pressure by running a tube through his nose down to his stomach to let the buildup escape and break up the food chunks, but that didn't fix it and his pain stuck around. At one point, things were so bad that doctors actually considered surgically cutting open his stomach to physically scoop the undigested food out, a procedure called a gastrostomy. But then, thankfully, his body finally began passing gas, which meant his digestive system was slowly processing the burger, his white blood cell count started dropping back to normal, and eventually he had bowel movement.
Ooh, I bet that room fucking stunk after that. He was probably fucking farting for days, bro. Yep. Let's leave him alone for like 2 days. Open every fucking window in his room. And, yeah. Just let him go at it. You walk by the door, all you hear is fucking motherfucker on the other side of the door fucking giggling to himself every time he farts. You go, I toot it.
5 days later, he was fully recovered and sent home. Now, just for context, the reason this happens or can happen to competitive eaters specifically is pretty interesting. Apparently, an average adult stomach comfortably holds about 50 ounces, but people who train for eating contests literally stretch out their stomach walls over and over during their gobbling episodes so they can cram more in. The doctors warn that doing this carries real risks, things like injury to the stomach wall, aspiration pneumonia from inhaling food, and even long-term obesity. But as they advised, plenty of these competitors keep chasing fame and glory anyway, pushing the limits of what the human body can take. Woke up mid-surgery, could feel the pain.
First of all, that last story was crazy. Fucking
Crazy
competitive eaters are fucking insane for that. Because you're literally just risking your life every day by eating food. And how the fuck did somebody, bro, waking up for surgery, bro? What kind of surgery, too? Because if they're fucking fixing like a broken leg or something, bro, that shit's, oh, you gonna be screaming.
Sounds, picture this. You woke up in the middle of an operation, fully able to feel the scalpel cutting into you, but completely paralyzed and unable to tell anyone. I mean, terrifying doesn't even cut it there. And as brutal as it is, this is an actual documented phenomenon called anesthesia awareness. And for one woman in Australia, it became a horrifying reality during what should have been the happiest moment of her life. Her name is Rachel Ben Mayer. She was 8.5 months pregnant when she was admitted to the hospital with dangerously high blood pressure, a condition called preeclampsia that can lead to fatal complications. When her blood pressure kept climbing, doctors decided to induce the birth, but after 17 hours of labor, her cervix wasn't dilating properly, so they switched plans and decided to deliver the baby by C-section under general anesthesia. She remembers being wheeled in, remembers the mask and the gas, and her partner and her midwife standing beside her. Then she blacked out. And then, just as the surgeon made the first incision, she woke back up. At first, she didn't even know where she was. The first thing she became conscious of was the pain, along with the rhythm.
Oh my god. Bro, you just wake up and he's just fought, bro, and the doctor's just now starting to cut into your fucking stomach, bro. Holy shit, and you're paralyzed, so you can't even fucking scream. You're just, oh my god.
Ticking or tapping sound that echoed away, and then this incredible pressure on her belly, which she described as feeling like a truck driving past and forth across it. She had no clue she was in surgery, and it got worse from there. She realized she wasn't breathing and started desperately trying to inhale, convinced she was going to die, not knowing a machine was breathing for her. Eventually, she gave up fighting and just let it happen. Then she started hearing the voices in the room again. And this time she could understand them. The staff casually chatting about their weekend, then saying, "Oh look, here she is, here's the baby." That's when it fully hit her that she was conscious during her own operation. She tried to signal them, try to move, and in the process made a damning discovery. She was totally and completely paralyzed. This story really reminds me of sleep paralysis. This is horrible.
Oh my god, bro. You're just watching everybody pass around your fucking baby and you're lying there with your fucking stomach cut open. You're just like, what the fuck? Can't even talk, bro. You're just like, oh my god, what the fuck just happened to me?
I hate this one. Okay, so like, why did this happen? It happened because, well, it turns out anesthesia is way less precise than most of us assume. Doctors can't really measure for sure whether a patient is truly unconscious, and the whole thing is essentially a sophisticated form of guesswork. As a matter of fact, C-sections are one of the riskier procedures for this, because they require relatively light anesthesia to protect the baby, which bumps up the chance of waking up mid-procedure. Studies suggest that 1 to 2 patients in every 1,000 report waking up during anesthesia, and in the US alone, somewhere between 20 and 40,000 people are estimated to remember waking each year. Only a small fraction feel real pain, but Rachel was one of the unlucky ones. Alright guys, that was it for this video. If you like the way I explain these stories, make sure
Holy shit. That last one was crazy. I remember, I forget who, I think it was Mr. Ballin that I listened to. I forget what episode it exactly was, but I think he told a story about a dude that was in surgery who woke up mid-surgery and he felt like everything. And he winded up and the doctors winded up like catching him while what was it? I think he had like his eyes taped shut. And he was rolling his eyes so much that the tape lifted and his eyes were like darting around the room and the nurse fucking saw it. She passed out. They hurried up, administered more anesthesia to him, knocked his ass out, tried to not tell him about it. And like, I think like a couple weeks later, he was having like episodes because he was remembering the trauma that he was experiencing with his body. Like, he was remembering it all. And then he went to the hospital and they were like, oh, yeah, by the way, this happened while you were in surgery. And I think he wound up getting a decent payday. That was a W fucking video, though. I fuck with, like, the meta, like, anything weird in, like, the medical field. I find that shit fascinating because it's like, how the fuck does some shit happen?